I still wanted to listen to the first show too,
Oh yeah, I can definitely give you that link.
just see how it sounds.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Wrestling Wednesdays. This is episode 2. This is Crash with Dash. I am, of course, Dash, J Dash. Either or work for me. I am also joined by the phenomenal, the bad one, Dion again for our second episode of Wrestling Wednesdays. D, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing quite well, Jason. And how about yourself?
I'm doing all right myself, man. Just trying to hold it down, trying to get more content out there for my channel, which will be coming soon. I've had an issue with um, some capture card stuff that's getting fixed right now,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, I'll be getting more content out there. But oh, by the way, guys, the dating advice episode 1, Art of Attraction Fridays went up. It should be in the Twitch channel. It's also on YouTube, Crash with Dash. I do have the links in the page, so you can check out the Art of Attraction Fridays. We'll be doing another one this Friday at. I had to change the time, so I think it is 7 Eastern that I do it. I think it's 7 Eastern. I'll double check, but I could just go to my page right now. I don't know what I'm talking about, but so yeah, there's that going on. If you are listening to this and you either whether it's not just pure dating advice, it's self help. So if you just have problems socializing with people, I got your back on that. But there is an archives button that you can click that I need to move back to. I don't know how all of this got changed around. It's not that big of a deal. I'll move it later. But essentially, yes, 7 p.m. Eastern. But so yes, if you click the archives button on the page, you will be able to see those things. But archives will take you to the YouTube page, and so yeah. But on to what this topic is. This is not dating. This is wrestling. All right. So we need to keep the show about wrestling, and we have a couple of things to talk about before we get to the main Raw SmackDown brand. There's a couple of things we need to get to. Uh, First and foremost, D finally got to see some of NXT Takeover. I need to start with this because this is the oldest thing on the agenda as far as um, chronological order. So Dion finally got to see. He didn't finish it, but he got to start NXT Takeover, which is now 2 weeks old. So if you're like, why are they talking about old content? It's because we need to talk about NXT Takeover because it was incredible.
And it don't matter if it was 2 weeks old, man. It's still just as fresh as a date. Well, I guess because I'm the last person to see it.
Yep.
The action in now, at least on the stuff that I saw, was sick, and it didn't disappoint.
No.
I expected to see it, but I'm still wowed every time I look at a takeover.
Oh,
I
because
mean,
it was insane. I mean,
yeah,
so let's talk about the first thing that you mentioned, and we're probably jumping the gun here because this was probably the best. So let's not start with it. Let's start with the Velveteen Dream versus Prince Pretty match, aka
hmm
Tyler Breeze. And my biggest takeaway from this match was like because I really wasn't watching a lot of Tyler Breeze when he was running around doing those things
hmm
in NXT, and for some reason I changed the category. I'm gonna have to change it again. It still says Anthem, but I did not know that Tyler Breeze had the ability that he had in that match. I was blown away by Tyler Breeze's wrestling, and the fact that he was able to put on a very good match with the Velveteen Dream, who we all know is the future of this business. If WWE is smart, he will be the future of this business.
you're dang right there. If WWE is smart, because doubt that Tyler Breeze was this good when he was in NXT before, even though I haven't seen, he wouldn't be able to just go back and start doing this stuff out of the nude like he never, like some rookie or whatever. He knew his spots, he knew his hits, he knew all his marks. I mean, and it's just when they get up to the main roster, then they at the mercy of Vince,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't get they did or any of the things that made them what they were before they got there.
Now,
So I
I've mentioned before that I thought the I'm a sucker for gimmicks, and I'm a sucker for sometimes just cheap humor. And some of the
right,
fashion files were actually kind of funny to me. I know you didn't like them,
right.
but I didn't mind the fashion files. But I'll ask you this question in reference to Tyler Breeze. Had Tyler Breeze been doing the fashion files, but been able to wrestle the way he did against Velveteen Dream, would you have been okay with, or at least more okay with it, or no? Still no.
Um, it's hard to say. I would have been more of a fan of him being on TV, seeing him in the ring. I just didn't like the fashion. But let me put it like this: it wasn't that it wasn't a cute gimmick and all that. It was worth. I know it was all about humor, but it to me it just went on too long and it just got overly
Because
ridiculous.
I think in the world of wrestling, and you could agree with this, there's
Hmm.
many ways to get over. It's not always your in ring work that gets you
True.
over, and I felt like at least in Vince's world of WWE, the fashion files were able to get those guys over when they weren't really getting a chance to really showcase their abilities
Right.
anyway. At least they still had their time to get over,
Right.
and that's how I viewed the fashion files.
Well, like a prime example to your take, like Santino Morella.
Sure.
I mean, he was all about comedy relief and
Yeah,
everything,
and I think wrestling needs that.
and family and fans, just took to him, regardless how ridiculous a lot of his antics were, and you can appreciate it,
Mm-hmm.
and you really can, and just like right now, kind of like all, you know,
Oh, of course, which I
relief.
have
But of
on the
course,
agenda to talk
but
about. We're going to get to that.
but he can do it in the ring too. He just don't get the proper, in my opinion, don't get the proper push he should.
I agree, but in this world, especially WWE, and think of, I mean, who do you give our truth to push over? I mean, there's so many talented people where it's really really hard. Like, and we'll get to it soon because yeah, let's just save that for later. Let's get back to Takeover.
Right, right.
Um, so yeah, that match I felt was very good. Of course, Velveteen Dream picks up the win. Um,
Hmm.
I can't think of any. The only thing that I could say that's abnormal if you've never seen a Velveteen Dream match, you should watch them because they're very good. The only thing that it kind of reminded me, didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Velveteen take the phone of Prince Pretty and start filming himself, like doing the selfie thing himself?
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah.
did he do it in the middle of the match or was it at the beginning of the match?
Middle of the
Yeah,
match
that's what I
while they
thought.
was out on the floor, man.
Yeah, that's so. What it reminded me of almost like a prelude because Velveteen Dream is very good at callbacks to historical moments in wrestling, which
Hmm.
is one of the reasons why I think he's just a genius because
Yeah.
he knows how to recreate moments that were historical moments. Like he's a student of the game.
Right.
You know how
Well,
most
I would
rappers. Go ahead.
and I would think that he picked that up from The Rock.
Exactly, and that's where I was. That's where I was going to get to. It's almost like a prelude or a homage to that, and that's one of the reasons why Velveteen Dream in my eyes is special, because he's a student of the game. He's not somebody who's like the stuff in the past was bad and everything that we're doing now is so much better. Like how like a lot of hip hop artists these days they don't know anything about old school hip hop. They don't know
No.
anything about the art or anything, and they don't understand why a lot of these old school cats are saying that they're all biters, they're all mumblers. They don't get that
Hmm.
because,
No.
and or they don't understand like guys like the Roots who literally know music. They're not hip hop artists; like they play their own instruments and things like that. And I'm saying that those, of course, they may not be mainstream, but they're special, unique talents, and I think Velveteen Dream falls in line with that and that's
Oh
why
yeah.
I think Velveteen Team Dream is very special in the world of
Well, I
wrestling.
don't. Well, I don't know if you saw the last Tough Enough when before he was Velveteen Dream,
When he was with
but
Michael Clark or whatever his name was,
yeah, but he
Patrick Clark.
was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he definitely was a student of the game because he knew. He knew.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could go back and tell you about things just like you'd say, "I know it."
Yes.
He know it, and he honors it.
Mm-hmm.
He had the great respect for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even that time when he pissed off Hulk Hogan,
Mm-hmm.
and after that, I've seen him where he actually mimic Hulk Hogan's move when he's hulking up during
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah. And Hulk
stuff.
Hogan
I mean,
now turns his whole viewpoint of Velveteen Dream, and I think Hulk Hogan doesn't hate him or dislike him anymore. I think Hulk
nah,
Hogan thinks this guy has got star written all over him too. Don't quote me
yeah,
on that, but I don't know if he's one of them, but I do know that he changed his attitude towards Velveteen Dream after he got to see more of him. So
yeah, because he paid tributes. You know, he pays tributes to the guys that he takes. You know,
sure.
his craft from,
Hmm.
and he uses it in the right way. It's just a cheap imitation. You actually buy into it.
Of course, it's and it doesn't feel gimmicky. For
Right,
example,
right.
here's how I can compare Velveteen Dream. Like his spin, when you think about the Velveteen Dream trademark spin, it
Mhm.
looks a lot like Macho Man Randy Savage, right?
Right.
And he, of course, his finishing move, the Purple Rainmaker. Of course, Velveteen Dream does things like he'll hop up from the second turnbuckle to the top, and then drop the elbow from there.
Hmm.
But his elbow drop still looks really good. He gets very good distance with it, things like that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's like
yeah, so he's paying a homage to the Macho Man Randy Savage, but he's doing it in a very, very extraordinary. Like it looks really good, and
yeah, he's just he's
he
basically, well,
it's
he's doing
super
a
believable, right?
yeah, he's doing a cookie cutter, formula,
Yes, but
rehashing.
I
I mean, no, no,
can't say I feel that about Bailey doing her elbow drop, and she wears the jacket, the Macho Man inspired jacket, the
right,
tassels. But when you look at
right.
her elbow drop, it just doesn't have the same like when Macho Man came off of that elbow drop, and this I learned. First off, Macho Man used to get crazy distance with that bionic elbow drop. I guess the bionic
Right.
elbow is Dusty Rhodes, but the elbow drop. So
Hmm.
but even if you go back to Macho Man's older days in WCW when he came back as the Mach, which I love that character with Gorgeous George and everything, like
Hmm.
his elbow drop just looks better than everybody else's. And maybe it's just because you were used to seeing it, but it's also because he's done it so many times that he's had time to perfect his craft. It seems like
Yeah,
Velveteen Dream did that. Like he wanted it to look spectacular, and
he added his own theatrics to it.
exactly. And Bailey to me doesn't have any theatrics to hers. Like I'll go as far as to me saying that Velveteen Dream's elbow drop looks better than Shawn Michaels' elbow drop. Macho
Of
Man's
course.
still number one, but Velveteen Dream's really close to Macho Man. So that's why I think Velveteen does it the right way because if he takes your stuff, it's gonna look
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, yeah. He's not going to make it a cheap imitation.
No.
He's just going to add his own spin to it,
Mm-hmm.
and just basically, you know.
Mm-hmm. So
So and that, so that to me that's paying him more respect.
of
You
course,
know,
and
just using it.
to me, he's a gold mine, and I know they're worried in this PG era, but they need to start
What?
tapping into the gold. How is the public gonna? You got to think that wrestling is all as a worldwide thing. You have this androgynous, quasi LGBTQ character, coming
Dude,
out.
in today's society,
Sure.
that he.
No, because you remember, as I said, wrestling is a nationwide thing, and the
Mm-hmm.
political climate right now, there are still half the people who don't want to see anything like that on television. Even though you say in today's society, yes, So
I mean, I'm just saying. To me, he's a lightweight compared to some of the myths I see on TV,
I agree. I agree, but
and
I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't call the shots because if I called the
they,
shots, this guy would have been on the main roster with a rocket strapped to his back. I can understand if they're somewhat worried about his uh, promos because I know he has limited promo time. So
uh-huh.
if they're kind of worried about that, but I mean, if Ricochet's on there giving promos and they're
Uh,
giving him mic time, then there's no excuse for. Because some of Velveteen Dream's promos are great. Like when Kathy Kelly's back there and he says, this. I forget. There's a promo video of him where he's basically talking about how this is not suiting to interview the Velveteen Dream, and he's like lights, and the lights, and he snaps his
yeah.
finger, and the light, it comes purple, the everything. And it's great. Like I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
saying he's perfect. I do
Don't.
think that he needs some help. But if Ricochet can give a promo, then Velveteen Dream can kill a promo. And this is no knock to Ricochet. It's just that we all know Ricochet's not the best person at giving promos.
Right.
So that's just my opinion on the fact that it's past time for Velveteen to be on the main roster.
You got quite a few people who's not great at giving promos get plenty of mic time.
Oh, the Lars Sullivan promo. Oh my God, that was terrible.
Oh, you know what? The smartest thing they was doing was keeping him off the mic, just having interviewers run away from him and all.
Oh yeah.
And I think now they'll probably do that just because they scared to start talking, rather than what he gonna do.
Let's move on to the next bout. What did you think of the Riddle Roderick Strong bout? I think that's the one that opened the show.
Bro, it was. You know what? It seemed like that should have been a boring match, but it picked up, and I was still impressed with it. Regardless, they got some nice moves in there.
Yeah, they definitely had some nice setups, some nice spots.
Yeah.
I felt, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I kind of felt like Roderick Strong wasn't selling a lot of those moves earlier like very well. Like it just
that's
seemed
what I'm saying.
believable. Like and this was on Roderick Strong selling. I didn't feel that he was doing a good job, which is strange because he's supposed to be a beast in ring, but I didn't feel like he sold the match as well as he should have. Like, at least in the earlier stages, it seemed a little sloppy. And the reason it seemed sloppy is because, he would do a move and he would get up almost instantly, and he didn't really sell the pain of a lot of those moves. And selling moves is just as important as giving moves.
It's giving them, yeah, exactly.
It's that important.
And that was one of the things that I commended, that I've been commending Dream about. It's like he sells moves
he sells like it's the most devastating thing. Yeah. Sometimes you could even hear him screaming sometimes.
I mean, he put when you talk about tricks to it, man. No, I don't think anybody does it better. But back to the first match you was talking about, man. Yeah, that's why it looked like it was just kind of and about as gray as the trunks he was wearing.
Yeah.
Until they started really picking up, and when they was really, when they got into the heat of the match, it made up for it.
I agree. The match finished strong enough to make up for the early.
It kept it from. Yeah, it kept it from being a C minus.
Yes.
And got it at least to a solid B to a B plus.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, with that being said, I still don't think there's really much to talk about with the match, other than if there's a few good spots. Like I don't remember the combination that Riddle did that was really, really cool. He had a really good combination. It's like where he did something and he flipped him back up, and I can't remember the exact combination that he did, but it was a really cool combo.
What he did, I think a combo where he went into his finish move, where it was like it ended like Cesaro's move?
The neutralizer.
Yeah, but only he does it on his back instead of pancaking his face. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he did some move where he kicked him down, then he literally flipped him up into another position for another move. It was a combo that I thought was a very unique combo. I can't remember, but as I said, but in my opinion, it was one of the weaker matches of the card, and that's saying a lot because it would have destroyed any WWE.
Yeah, whenever your weakest match is a strong B, that's that's plenty about your pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Because WWE.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say because WWE normally does good. It's out of surprise you get a B out. You just C to C minus, D F to a certain point, depending on what it is. I mean, F is when you don't execute or you don't sell the promo, about the match. When everything's weak. At least if the promos are weak, the match should be good. But then there are some cases, a lot of cases with both of them are no good, man. It's like you just, that's a bathroom break for a lot of
For
people.
sure. What about
Snacks. Hmm.
let's move on to the next one then, because this is the one that
Yeah.
was insanity.
Yes.
The tag team match.
Uh,
The ladder tag team match was insanity. That
what?
match, top to bottom, excellent, excellent, excellent match.
A plus on everything.
Mm-hmm.
The finish, the match, the spots, everything, man. I mean, what I saw moves in there, like I said, and I've seen plenty from NXT before,
Mm-hmm.
takeovers or whatnot. I was like, oh my lord, oh Jesus, oh my God, oh man. I mean, this was consistent. I actually got to hear myself say it. The moves were just, uh, well, best sick.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff, the coming off the ladder and stomping a guy in the chest while you're doing a reverse DDT on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember that one.
oh yeah. The way they was hitting those ladders, man.
Kyle
I don't even.
back.
Oh,
remember
twice.
Kyle? Oh man, did you see how it was
Yeah.
bleeding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
That was crazy. And
I don't.
did as a matter of fact, I'm looking it up right now. If
I
Bobby
don't
Fish
know
got
how they
injured,
got
like if Bobby Fish injury was legit, because you didn't finish the pay-per-view, but Bobby Fish I think got injured in that match. So
Yeah, wasn't it at the time he was climbing that ladder? Or he was supposed to, but then he couldn't, and he was telling his partner to go up and get it or something.
I don't know, but it's like it's like an arm injury, and the thing
Mm-hmm.
is,
Oh no, he was holding his face at the time.
so
So
the crazy thing is, it was an arm injury, and Bobby Fish just recently came back from an injury, and I'm a Bobby Fish fan, so
yeah.
I'm gonna see his, yeah, huh. They just said he banged up his shoulder. Still gonna have to do some medical testing. So that's the last I saw on it. So I'm hoping that he's fine.
Yeah, if it don't require surgery, then he should be okay. You would think.
Yeah, let's see. And then the sling is a result. He's not expected to miss any time from it. Okay, so that's good.
Awesome.
That's good. But yeah, I mean, it finished with, of course, the Street Profits winning the tag team titles for their first tag team run.
And yeah, I was impressed.
I thought it was interesting when the Forgotten Sons. What's that guy's name? Their third member.
Yeah.
When he came in, and they all had to go against him. That big dude, huge.
Yeah.
So I thought that made it interesting as well. It just had a lot of good moments in it. Like there was just from top to bottom, it was an amazing, amazing match. I really don't like talking, trying to call it every little thing because in a way I feel if you haven't seen it, you need to get spoiled.
Yeah.
I mean I don't like to spoil it. You need to go watch it. And so this is why we more so just talk about the our reactions to the match versus the match events that happen in the match because watching it is better than hearing somebody talk about it.
But I'm telling you, the thing about the NXT action, even if you do say everything, it still pales in comparison to watching. You can watch it knowing what's going to happen and still be in awe of what happens.
Versus WWE, you can't do that.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say you can spoil anything with NXT. I mean, really, they are just that good to me.
They are. In my opinion, NXT is probably the best wrestling promotion out there right now. Over anything,
If they can only get some TV time, network TV.
Mm-hmm. It's a much better product than Raw, SmackDown. I just feel they have more together right now than AEW does, and so until we see the future of AEW,
Mm-hmm.
is where it's at.
Oh yeah. Well,
Um,
he had start to it, of course.
sure. Let's move on to Impact Wrestling because we
Okay.
actually I caught the last match, but you actually remembered to catch Impact. Which is crazy because I was saying that I was going to remind you to watch Impact, and you remembered, and I forgot. So,
Oh, come on.
it is what it is. It happened,
Mm,
and you watched it, and I didn't. And so, what were your impressions of Impact Wrestling?
well, I'll tell you what. Even though they don't have the same production as WWE and all that business, they they don't lack for anything in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they still just like I told you before. I haven't seen them, since since they left Pop TV a few months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I come back, I'm lost in the storylines, and it look like a lot of them are still weak and everything else, but they make up for it in the ring, big time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they not hurting for anything as far as ring action. And when I told you before the show, one of the things I really was impressed with were the knockouts, because some of the women that I saw, I figured they had a future in the business when I last saw them, but they've improved so much. I mean, and then I mean, like I said, the storylines are lost, but they bring it better than some of the men.
Mm-hmm. Which
I
is
mean,
crazy because right now, if you were to ask me what is the strongest thing that Impact Wrestling has going for it, in my eyes,
mhm,
it's the knockouts.
yeah, the doing in that ring is just as brag worthy as NXT almost to me.
Yeah, they're
You
doing a
know,
lot
something.
of good stuff over there. I didn't get to see any of the knockout matches when I watched it. So who did you see wrestle? And you know, what was your opinion of?
The two that stand okay when I say impressed, the two that stood out to me was what's her name, Kira Hogan,
Yep, Kira Hogan,
and Jaden. What's the big
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Gray? Because I had just started watching her before they went off for Pop, and she was all right. She was pretty good. I'm like, okay, she was the one I thought she would have a decent future if they used,
Mm-hmm.
and look like they have. And she's stepped up so moves when the action picked up during the match, the moves they was hitting and selling was just freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they doing like power drive type moves, not so much the actual power drive, but where they dropping you on your head, fold
Yeah.
that suplexes. It was sweet, man. And Kira Hogan has improved since the time I've seen her with her moves, with her flow, everything. And it was like looking at the same women.
Mm-hmm.
I even and okay, and then that was Tyra. I
Valkyrie.
forgot. Yeah, I forgot who she was fighting. I think it was Rosemary. Oh yeah, it was
Oh,
Rosemary.
they had a match on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, but it had Rosemary, and Rosemary had just won against Young and made her slave or whatnot.
Okay.
And I wasn't surprised by them. Okay, because they still doing what they've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
which was cool. But I like they brought back Jessica Havoc,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
and she went in and just wrecked shop on everybody. So it don't look like she's aligned herself. Well, except for the fact that in the storyline she freed Sue Young from Rosemary's
Mm-hmm.
clutches. And what's that evil manager that's always been there? James
The one
Vander.
who was with Abyss and everything.
Yeah. Damn, I can't think of his name, man. But you know who I'm talking about. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's over her now. So I'm like, okay, well at least that's a little interesting, as far as that sideshow goes. But I was just so, like I
James
said,
Mitchell.
so there you go.
I'm
Yeah.
googling it. That's why I knew. Don't. It's not my.
Oh,
It's not my brain. It's my brain to take the time to look it up. But sure.
that's okay. You freed me just now, so I really and I appreciate that. But so whatever they're gonna do with their storyline, that's fine. I'm actually interested in what happens. But I do like the fact that they brought Jessica Havoc back
Mm-hmm.
into that, because she can create a lot of chaos and a lot of interesting matches. And and like I said,
Especially into
she's no
that storyline, which is way off into the deep end of crazy, right?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
but mainly my I was with the younger crew, and that was Kira Hogan and Jordan Grace,
And we should all know that
and
we
then
don't need to say anything about right now who's really, really like pushing the envelope for best female wrestler on the planet, and
oh,
Tessa Blanchard.
we
She's
don't need to, but I
oh,
am
go for it.
because, like I said before, the last time I saw her, she was an extreme heel.
And she was
I
she was
mean,
great at being an extreme heel too.
oh yeah, I mean, hell, she was choking out a referee, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was doing it for real for a minute, man. It was calling his next to kin and everything, but that was when she left TV. But now when I catch them on Twitch, she's turned face all of a sudden. I don't know the story behind that, but one thing I want to say, you love heels and you
Yeah,
love people that really plays them, and you hate it when they turn face,
I
because a
do.
lot of times when they turn face, they don't, you can't believe them. They don't sell it right. Well, I think I was impressed with her versatility, because even for the moment, for her money in time, she actually sold me on her face move. And as I was saying to you earlier, the reason I can buy into her is because it looks like she's still the same little nasty bitch she was before she left
Mm.
TV. Only she's not, the baby face that everybody try to take, to where she's out there glad handed and loving and hugging the crowds and all that good stuff. It's They not changing her
Yeah,
character.
she's still
They
Tessa Blanchard.
Right. They just changing her cause,
Yeah,
her purpose.
exactly.
But she's still, she's still the same. And I feel that is something that a lot of promos get wrong. When they want to turn a heel face, they will change their personality, change their character, and all of a sudden they smelling roses and seeing sunshine and all that and
Yeah.
rainbows and shit. So I'm like, no, 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 no. Let them be what got them to the dance.
Yes, because
You know,
that was my biggest complaint, or that currently is my biggest complaint about the Becky Lynch face
yeah,
turn. I didn't mind the fact that the crowd was buying it, so
right.
they turned her face. I didn't mind that. It's the fact that now she's so bubblegum face. Like, and of
Exactly.
course not compared to Bailey, but in
Ugh.
comparison to what she was.
Yeah.
When she first turned face and she invaded Raw and put Ronda in the armbar and did all those things, and everybody was going crazy for
Oh,
her, and
turn the heel.
you know,
Yeah, and happy she was healed. And
she I don't think she remember. You remember when she came out after she turned on Charlotte? The
hmm
crowd was chanting Becky so much. She
yeah,
tried to tell she tried to pull the heel heat and get the heat where she was talking down the crowd, and they didn't even
right.
care. So the very next week, like they were like, okay, well, we're not gonna turn her heel because the crowd doesn't like her. We're just gonna have her be this angry, driven face. Is what we're gonna do.
Right.
And so they did that. And so even when she was doing the stuff against Ronda, she was actually a face. It's just that
hmm
she was this this face that had this bad attitude, and people loved
That
it.
the anti
And
type of
yeah,
thing.
and then they just went so bubblegum pop with her, like
What
where she does the
we
cheap pops for every city and everything. It's like,
uh
it kills me.
not she. Yeah, well, when she did that turn back and Ronda Rousey, defying the orders from from the authority to
Mm-hmm.
stay home, don't do this, no,
Mm-hmm.
you can't show up and do that, and just disrupting shows. She tapped into her inner Stone Cold.
Yeah,
you know,
for
she
sure.
was that's what had happened, because he was like that when he in his early days. He was like that the whole time. But I mean, when he went from heel to face, he was that same asshole that was just doing whatever the hell he wanted to do.
Exactly. And I
Didn't
feel
care.
like that would have been the smartest way to push Becky Lynch, is to where she's still this character that everybody fell in love with when she made the turn,
Mm-hmm.
without having to do the cheap pops and all those other things. Like, that's what I think people really want, and I kind of feel like that's why the Becky momentum has died somewhat. Not necessarily because ratings are dropping. I just think that the Becky momentum died because she's not even the character that people fell in love
That
with.
they was raving about. Yeah.
Exactly. And
It's.
so it's just, I don't know, and that's why I felt, that's why Kofi leading up to Mania started stealing her thunder. And I think that they could have had her going into Mania with that same momentum. I felt a lot of the injury angles they were playing. Yeah, I guess they had to keep her off camera, but they could have. I said she just had to do it the way that when she first came. So here's what I challenge anybody who's like, hey, he's just being too critical. Everything. Go back to the promos that she was cutting. Like the promo that she cut after she got punched in the face by Nia Jax. Go back to that
Right.
promo,
Uh-huh.
right? And then compare it to any of her promos right now.
Oh
There's a
yeah.
different level of intensity. There's a different level of everything. And I'm not saying that she's got to be that every single time, but to me, she's kind of went hybrid between that and old Becky Lynch, aka Bailey. She's kind of a hybrid
Yeah.
between,
Right.
where she was and then that. And I don't think anybody wants that. And I
No.
can say I don't. By the way, have you heard about
I don't either.
Becky Lynch feuding with Edge, apparently?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently, I don't know if it's real or if it's fake, just so they could build up hype between her and Beth Phoenix having a match.
Hmm.
But she's like
But
calling out Edge and all of these things, and Edge was basically saying that you had your chance to shine in the main event of Mania and you still let everybody down and all this stuff. It's kind of,
what?
yeah, it's kind of interesting. Her
She let
saying that.
everybody down. She won the match.
No, but as far as like the match hype, she didn't live up to the match hype.
Oh, oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Like, they gave it to you. They gave you
Uh huh.
this match. Uh, and
Oh,
then
all,
yes,
after all that build up she had
and and
from what you was talking about.
and everybody talking, like, and the thing is, like, I'm reading an article, or there's a title of an article on sports Kita is what it's called. I'm just gonna try to give them their credit. Opinion: Why Becky Lynch calling out Edge on Twitter is a mistake. Like, does she not know that Edge is still adored by fans? Like, adored.
Yeah.
Like, people love Edge,
And
and
the one thing they're gonna always love, the reason they're gonna always love is because he had to quit too soon.
he had to quit too soon. He had to quit when he
Yeah.
was at the height of his game.
Right.
Um, you know.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it had to.
Let's see. Ric Flair says he had to call Edge to make sure Becky Lynch wasn't shooting on Twitter. Flair said I had to call Edge to make sure Lynch isn't really. My God, it was pissing me off. Flair laughed and noted Edge. Oh, so it was a work. Yeah, it was a work. So
Oh really?
so I guess they're trying to get this match between her and Beth Phoenix to happen, which would be cool.
Yeah. Cause Beth can work a match.
Oh, she's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
She's one of those women
Yeah.
who like has a legitimate spot in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not trying
Uh
to take
huh.
away from any of the women who are in the Hall of Fame, but where her wrestling earned her way into the Hall of Fame. Not
Yeah.
because she was a sex symbol and things like that. I'm not saying that
Oh
Beth
no
Phoenix is
no.
not attractive. I'm not saying that, but there's some
Oh
women
no.
who
Well,
made it
she
in the
was
business.
not. No, she wasn't one
She
of
didn't
those.
make it off of being a sex symbol like a Kelly, who I will say that
Yeah.
Kelly picked up her wrestling as years went on. A Tori Wilson, a Sunny. I'm not.
Cheap diva.
Yeah, she didn't make it in as somebody who was strictly a sex symbol, where Beth Phoenix made it in as a wrestler first. And as I
Yeah.
said, this is not me saying Beth Phoenix is not attractive or anything like that. She
I
just
know.
didn't make it in purely on being a sex symbol, and so she's and so yes, I agree that would be an interesting feud. So good to at least know to work, because you can't call it Edge. Like, of all people, no, you can't call it Edge.
Nah. And I can't imagine her having an issue with Edge at all anyway.
No, that'd be one of those where you're just kind of shocked more than anything else.
Yeah.
So, um, So yeah, let's go back to. I know we took a wild tangent from Impact, but let's go back
Hey,
to now the main event of Impact, the tag team championship match,
oh
which
yeah,
was incredible. You know what
insane.
it reminds me of?
Tell me,
Remember we went to the theater and saw Lucy? Did you go with us
Lucy.
to see
Yeah,
Lucy? Okay.
yeah, I remember Lucy.
Where the movie was, it's building up. You're like getting hype, more hype as the movie's going on, and then the end was so stupid that you questioned the rest of the movie. Like
Right.
you were like, wait a second, like was this match really that good? And
Uh-huh.
the answer is legitimately yes. The match had very good spots. The LAX combination moves are so good. LAX in
Mhm.
my eyes are one of the best tag teams in the world right now.
Right.
This is in the West. I can't sit there and tell you guys that I'm watching in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but in the West, LAX is by far one of the best tag team wrestlers, duos in the world. Their moves are that
Without
great.
a yeah,
Their
a
matches are
doubt.
that good. Their matches versus the Lucha Brothers were insane. These guys are
Mhm.
very talented. The Rascals come in here. I don't know much about the Rascals. As I said, I'm going to try to start watching Impact more regularly. And
Right.
they put on a very good match with LH, and then the end was so stupid.
Stu-
I have never seen something like this in my life. Here's my analogy for it, D. It was
Uh
as if they tried to pretend they were the Bella twins doing twin magic, but they're not twins. It worked when the Bella twins did it.
they're not even
Yeah,
brothers.
they're not
They
even
just
brothers. When the Bella twins did it, it made sense. It worked. Okay, they
right.
look close enough. And of course, Nikki gets all her work done, and you're like, wait a second, I
But
don't know if it quite works anymore because
but
one's clearly got a much more
well,
defined bosom than the other. So, but
I I'll put it like this: even pull that or try to pull that mess.
the Bella twins can pull.
I mean, the two that's in the match, the other one gonna be on the floor, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, they couldn't even pull this off. So
Uh-huh.
if you missed it, you can't. It's hard to find stuff on Impact. I guess you'd have to find full episodes on YouTube. Some people throw them on there with the by changing the size and everything. But it was so weird because literally what happens is they brought their Cuban moonshine. LAX did. And
Mm-hmm.
Ortiz, he has it in his mouth. He spits it at the referee. Spits the Cuban moonshine at the referee. The referee's temporarily blinded. And so the third member of the Rascals takes off his shirt, happens to be wearing his wrestling gear, gets involved in the match, which is not a problem. You're like, okay, typical, this is what happens when a ref gets knocked out. The third wheel is going to come in and change the fate of the match. But that's not the problem. The problem with it is that he pins a member of LAX. An outside referee runs in and counts 1, 2, 3 from somebody who was never in the match, decides, I'm going to do my finishing meteor from the top rope pin combination, and the referee actually counts as if he was in the match to begin with.
You sure Vince Russo didn't write this?
And I don't know who wrote this. Whoever wrote
But
this, this was the worst ending to a wrestling match I have seen in a long time.
and I know why they tried to do it, but their solution was just
You know why they
straight
tried to do
garbage.
it? I don't.
Yeah, because they don't want either team to get a clean,
Sure.
and they want
But
controversy. But
there's so many ways you could do that.
exactly. I agree with you. I'm just saying. I understand. Okay, you can't have a clear cut win or whatnot, but you got to have some kind of controversy to it.
But
And I
it's got to
guess
be
this
something
was
that at least makes. To me, there's no controversy to it. It doesn't make sense. So what controversy did they create? What is the controversy? Oh, the Rascals pinned them. No, they didn't. The two. It'd be like if the New Day were wrestling, but it was Big E and Xavier Woods in the match, but Kofi Kingston comes in there and makes the pin.
Exactly. That's what I say. Even they don't try that.
Yeah, there's no controversy. So that's what I'm saying. That whatever they were trying to create, they did not create it because there's literally no controversy because it was so dumb.
Oh yeah,
And that they pulled a Lucy. The LAX versus Rascals pulled a Lucy, where the
Minute.
match is
Now
so good until the end.
you saying you didn't like the fact that Lucy turned into this computer and
Yeah,
had
into
all
a
the data?
flash drive, bro.
Yeah, gave you the flash drive to all the answers in
Yeah,
the world
yeah,
since the beginning of
yeah.
time.
They hyped, man. Oh, she's hit 100%. You were like, man, she's about to go out there and just body all these guys. Like she's about to go ham. No,
She was gonna
instead of
go
going to
Neo.
body the entire group out there, I'm gonna take the time, hold them off, so I can transform into a flash drive, into a USB flash drive. And I clearly, I think if we were to go back and look, I clearly don't even think it was USB 3.0. I guarantee it's not even USB 3.0.
Well, I really want to know what's on that flash drive.
Well, you want to know way more than I do. Because once she turned into a flash drive, I was done.
Well, thank goodness the movie, right?
Man, Impact pulled a Lucy. Impact pulled a Lucy.
You know what? That's gonna be from there. We're gonna make that a catchphrase now. You
Yeah,
pulled a Lucy.
when you have
You
such a
have
good match that ends so terribly, you've pulled a Lucy.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, let's move on. On to everybody's, I guess the cliche wrestling stuff. Let's go to first. Let's start with Raw.
Oh Lord.
Let's start with Raw. What happened in Raw? So here we go. The Rollins versus Corbin 2 is happening. I'll say this about Corbin. Corbin's doing a very good job at becoming the most hated person in WWE.
Getting the
He's
heat.
generating
Yeah.
very good heat.
Right.
And I don't, in my opinion, I don't think he's ready, or I don't know if he's ever going to be that guy who you can believe is a main event heel. I don't feel that from him, but
Okay.
that doesn't mean that he's not finding his groove.
Right.
I don't know that Corbin can ever be that. I think the closest they got to it is when he was the general manager, and even then, like you believed him being in the main event on Raw, but main event of a pay-per-view, like you weren't excited about that. And I don't know if there's anything Corbin can do to become that. It's just that I like the heat that he's getting, especially because I love heels. I love the heat that he's getting. I just don't buy that from Corbin. Like if it was Baron Corbin, I don't think that Corbin's the type of guy that you could strap a rocket to and push to the moon and it's buyable by the people. And I think because you got to remember that's where a lot of his heat came from. They didn't feel that he was worthy of putting Kurt Angle down.
Right.
You know.
And he did.
Yeah, I don't know what your opinion on it is.
My opinion is, at best, at least let's say take him right now, he would be if let's say he somehow got the belt, he would be a transitional champ.
Oh, but
And
I'm sorry, but I don't even see him as a transitional champ.
And the longer you keep the belt on him, I'm just wondering, would he generate so much heat till the belt becomes that much more prestigious because you just desperate to see somebody take it off of him?
No, I think Brock Lesnar did that. Brock Lesnar did it that way, where they didn't like Brock Lesnar, but it's believable that Brock Lesnar's holding this belt for this long. Thus, the belt they developed prestige. And the people who were mad about Brock Lesnar holding that belt that long, I don't think they understand that everybody hated that belt when it first came out, this Universal title. Now they've created the most prestigious belt in their company by putting it on Brock Lesnar. Like as I said, the Raw belt is the most prestigious. There was a time when it wasn't because everybody hated the belt, but it is back to being the most prestigious. Nobody even really talks about the belt anymore.
The giant fruit roll up.
Yep. Nobody even really talks down to the belt anymore. Like it's just known that it's the most prestigious belt. So they knew what they were doing by keeping on Lesnar for that long.
To be honest, I don't think even Lesnar wanted to.
No, Lesnar seems to be a team player,
he
Like,
wanted to drop it to Roman at
yeah,
WrestleMania,
he did. He did. I
That's
mean,
right, and he
so
got pissed when
hmm
Vince changed it.
yeah,
So,
Lesnar actually seems to be a team player. Like he was the one that called for Goldberg to squash him when they
yeah,
had their
I know.
when Goldberg had his comeback. So I think there's a lot of misguided hate towards Lesnar. I don't
Hmm.
hate Brock Lesnar, um, but
Not because he's doing shit on his own terms.
mhm,
A lot of people don't like,
yeah,
you know.
but he's a big draw. He still is a big draw.
Yeah,
So,
he he's the new Andre the Giant, in so to
mhm.
speak.
And
Well, he's
I
there for
think that's what Vince tried to say that he was trying to accomplish with Brock Lesnar. Where if
hmm
Brock Lesnar is there every single week, the mystique
right,
about Brock Lesnar starts to go away.
right. It's like you devalued it now
Mm-hmm.
because he's there every week. You see, just like I ain't never seen him this much, you know, in
Mm-hmm.
the last few weeks with this Money in the Bank thing
Mm-hmm.
as I have before, you know.
I like his boombox too. I like the boombox thing.
Oh, he
That was
had
a
me
lot.
rolling with that one,
Yeah.
man.
So
I'm like, really?
and the shirt Brock Party instead of Block Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm like, come on, man. I mean, that's cool, but I don't want them to keep that up.
He still has no rhythm, but it was still cool. Like he was going way
Yeah.
off the beat of his songs and everything. But that was like the closest you saw to Brock Lesnar tapping into his comedic side, like when he did the what were
What
they the mariachi thing with the Eddie Guerrero feud. You remember that?
mariachi thing?
You don't remember that?
That's been it's been a while, bro.
I'll have to give it to you on. I'll find it and give it to you
You gotta
on Discord.
I'm,
I'll send it to you.
you gotta remember I'm middle aged.
Yeah, I got you. I got you covered. Don't worry.
Okay,
But yeah,
but
but yeah, that so now we have Rollins versus Corbin 2 coming up.
right.
I have no care about this match. The only care I'll have is if Brock Lesnar shows up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that'll make the match interesting. Um,
Right.
it is what it
Well,
is.
okay, and then well, the women's
Yes,
division.
the women's division, I feel like the WWE women have been stepping up the past couple of weeks as far as putting on better performances. And this is weird because I was literally knocking Lacey Evans in ring last week, and this week it was so much better. Like
Right.
it's like you see these segments of Lacey Evans, and I don't know if it's because of tag match, so other people were able to carry it, and maybe
Mm.
she can't carry a match by herself. I don't know what it is, but
Or
this
maybe
week
who she's
is
working with. But you said she was working with Natalia.
she was working with Natalia one time. It was a bad match, which that's
Right.
unheard of. Like apparently working with Natalia, she makes it super easy for you. And it's I don't know, maybe she's finding her groove. Maybe she's got some hit or miss performances. She's still trying to find her way. But
No,
she
she.
actually seemed very believable in that tag team match she had with Bliss versus Bailey and Becky Lynch.
But between last week and this week, I think what it was, Lacey Evans heard your show.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, if she did, then you know what, Lacey, keep up the good work. You are improving.
Yeah.
The thing is, I want Lacey to be successful. I love the character work, so I want Lacey to be successful. So I know it may sound like I'm criticizing people and I'm just doing it to pick on them, but I want Lacey to be successful in this business. And it's
Of
just
course.
I wasn't buying the in-ring work, but this week it was very viable for me. So I do give her credit for this week's performance versus last
Hmm.
week's performance. I thought she improved a lot.
And honestly, and I don't know, I still don't know where Alexa Bliss is as far as her being able to stay in the ring
Yeah,
because it looked like they was being careful
they were being very careful, and even when she took up
with
the
her.
step up in Seguri, she covered her head big time. I don't know if you saw
Uh huh.
that. Like she way early, kind of like when Daniel Bryan does for Kofi Kingston.
Uh huh.
Like where it's you could see it from a mile away. Like
Hmm.
she basically did that, and I'm all for it. Whatever you got to do to keep Alexa Bliss on TV, and I think fans want to see her in the ring anyway.
I'm
Um,
surprised she took. It was a certain bump. I was surprised she,
oh,
and
the
that was when
Bailey
she
bomb,
got that.
the turnbuckle
Yeah.
power bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and because it
I was
looked like
like,
she hit it wrong, because the back of her head legitimately hit the turnbuckle.
yes.
Yeah, so
And I was like, damn.
yeah, but she hung in there and she showed
Hmm.
up on Tuesday. And as I said, Alexa Bliss, she's just somebody who needs to be on TV. She generates cash. She's got the look. She's got the mic skills. her in ring, like she's added a couple of new moves.
Mm-hmm.
Like she can actually do the full backflip tuck into the knee drop now. Like she doesn't need to do the
Yeah.
handspring part anymore.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, she's added that. So she's got a couple of new things, and she just is one of those people who needs to also be in the ring. And it looks like we were
Yeah.
talking about the possible face turn. It looks like that was just a moment, just to be Alexa Bliss to get Nikki Cross on her side. So now she can be
Mm-hmm.
Nikki Cross. So they're keeping her as the character she needs to be. Maybe they were quasi testing the water with it, and they're like, no, let's just keep Alexa, which I think is the right move.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Iconics appeared and had their match. Of course, their squash match, which I'm okay with. It plays perfect into the character
Uh-huh.
of the Iconics to just continuously claim that they're the longest reigning tag champs by having squash matches.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Kabuki Warriors on TV. I don't know if there's an injury or something because I know they were setting up Kabuki Warriors versus the Iconics. I don't know what happened with that.
And like, yeah, what is with that? Because and I don't like the fact that they're not on TV, not getting more spots or
Yeah,
whatnot.
and as I said, remember what we talked about with Paige yesterday? This is also keeping
Yeah, they
Paige
just
off TV, which is why
just wasting them.
I think Paige needs to be like the old school manager, like a Jimmy Hart, where she has several wrestlers underneath her wing, not just one
Not
tag team.
right.
She could be like our Mr. Fuji. These
Uh huh.
people who had like a small little stable, right? Like,
Yeah.
why don't they just turn Paige into? Because there's a lot of singles wrestlers that just
Mm-hmm.
have zero mic skills.
Who could
Who could use a
right
Paige,
now?
and like why not turn Paige into that? Because the fans still love Paige. The fans still want to see Paige. She's good on the mic, and there's a lot of people
Exactly.
who are bad on the mic. So let Paige be their mouthpiece. But I will say this, in my opinion, it would be better if she ran a heel stable, because I think
Oh yeah.
Paige's better mic work comes when she's a heel than versus a face. So, in my opinion, that would be better. But
That
it could
means
be
Kabuki Warriors would have to turn
which they
heel.
won't, especially against the Iconics. I mean, you can't out heel the Iconics. You cannot out heel the Iconics. The Iconics are too good at being heels, right? So, yeah, but either that or the Kabuki Warriors, like she turns heel and the Kabuki Warriors leave her. The Kabuki Warriors. I think the biggest problem with WWE with a lot of these Japanese talents, the Shinsuke Nakamura's, the Asukas, is they
Mm-hmm.
think that they need to have mouthpieces to be believable
Yeah.
champions, and what they don't understand is that they're so over with the quote
With the
unquote
fan.
WWE universe. Let's use their
Mm-hmm.
terminology. That they don't need it. Like Asuka, when she was champ, people
Yeah, she didn't do a
were
whole
like,
lot of.
yeah, people were like, yeah, Asuka's champ. Yeah, I see that. Well, what about him?
Yeah.
I don't care. It's Asuka. She could be the champ. If
I mean,
Nakamura had beat AJ, would anybody have been like, "Oh, Nakamura, he can't speak"? Would anybody have said that? No, they wouldn't have cared. These their work. There are certain people whose work speaks for themselves.
right.
Asuka
But
is
you,
one of them. I'm
well, the problem is Triple H sees that,
sure
but Vince he's still too old school and
because
outdated with that.
yes, even when Andrade asked for a push, Vince told
Yeah.
him you need to go learn English, and it's like. If you let, I
Yeah.
mean, first off, when that guy was putting on those matches with Rey Mysterio,
Mm-hmm.
those were some of the best matches on TV in a
Yeah.
long time.
And
I
he
do
got
agree
a
by week
mouthpiece.
3 that it got redundant, but those two matches, those are some of the best WWE main brand matches. As a matter of fact, they probably are the best ones we've seen this year.
And I'm gonna tell you, and if you are saying that about a match with Mysterio,
Yeah,
there's got to
and
be
I
something
don't like
to it.
Mysterio.
I know.
But they don't know. The people who are listening, they don't know that I'm not a Rey Mysterio guy. And nothing against Rey Mysterio. It's hard for me to be a huge fan of somebody where the other person has to do the majority of the move for you. When
Right.
you're doing a head scissors takedown, the person who's taking the head scissors takedown is doing the work. And
Of
when you watch a
course.
Mysterio match, like the majority of those people against Mysterio are doing the work. So it's just always been my thing against Rey Mysterio Jr. Since I followed him from the WCW days. And this is not a knock against cruiserweights, because I loved Eddie Guerrero when he was a cruiserweight. You know, big Eddie Guerrero's one of the top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. Ultimo Dragon. We had to talk about Ultimo Dragon. That guy is a machine.
Oh yeah.
So it's not even a knock against cruiserweights in general, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably disagree with what I said. I just don't do Mysterio. It's just not me.
Yeah.
So yes. But yeah, and it's just like what are they? You know, it just goes to show you that because we segue to Andrade from Asuka because they do people like that trans.
But I mean, Andrade has a mouthpiece.
I know.
So
And what would happen to Zelina Vega if Andrade learned English anyway? Now what? She gets thrown to the abyss of nothingness.
Yeah.
And she
started wrestling.
She's good at it. Too.
Yeah.
Like she's very believable when Zelina Vega comes out and cuts her promos with Andrade. Like you buy in.
Right.
To what she's saying and how she views her client as being this much better than everybody else. Like she sells it well.
And this is kind of what Paige needs to do as a manager.
Yes. And I think having Paige come out being quiet with the Kabuki Warriors is not helping.
Nah.
So I don't know.
She's just out there.
Yeah. And so I don't know. We'll see. And by the way, I'm going to rent Fighting With My Family. I'm going to Redbox that. I'm very curious on it. Just to see what it's about, the Paige story. It actually got good reviews, so I'm a little curious about it.
Oh man, they going. How far does it go? Does it go all the way up to the times with her and old boy and Xavier Woods and everything?
I don't think there's some of that.
Or is that the sequel?
I guess there's gonna have to be a sequel. But,
okay.
But I'm gonna definitely check out the Fighting With My Family. Moving on, we did the Iconics. We talked about Lacey Evans. I don't know what they're doing with this U.S. title picture.
Well, you know what? That's one I want to touch on big time. Because, honestly, I was saving that for dream booking.
Okay.
And seriously, that my dream booking is to restore prestige to that belt. And they got, you know what, and I'm really tired of them just doing all these triple threats, you know, what's that 4-way elimination stuff, you know. They need to create, all right, Joe can carry the belt, which he has, but they're not doing anything with Joe. It ain't the belt, it's him. I mean, well, I'm talking about it's not the belt that they're not doing anything with, it's the person that has it.
Yes.
And Joe needs to feud with just one wrestler. I mean, and in my opinion, that should be EC3. I feel like he should just step out of nowhere.
I'm gonna say this, D. This is coming from me. You know, I was an EC3 fan back in Impact. I think what they did to EC3 since he's come to the main roster is irreversible.
You think so?
I think that's how bad they messed up EC3.
Because
it's that bad. In my opinion, the way they've handled EC3 and now slowly letting Bobby Roode turn into that level, like by having him run around and chasing the 24/7 title and things like that, which I don't mind the 24/7 title for what it is. But they're using the wrong talent for that. People. Matt Hardy shouldn't be chasing it. EC3 shouldn't be chasing it. Bobby Roode shouldn't be chasing it.
No.
Jinder Mahal shouldn't be chasing it. I don't mind if it's guys like No Way Jose.
Right.
Or these guys who you knew never stood a chance at ever winning anything. I think once you're into the picture of chasing the 24... And this is not a knock against R-Truth. R-Truth is making the 24/7 title interesting. You know, the segments with R-Truth and Carmella. Like, I don't mind Drake Maverick. Cedric Alexander, well, obviously is not going to get a push anytime soon. So, because he's still kind of unknown. Eric Young, we know, now that they broke up Sanity, we know Eric Young's not going to do anything. We just know that. So I don't mind. They broke up Sanity. Right? You know, and I think it's sad that they broke up Sanity, but they never even used them anyway.
Right,
So, but I don't mind seeing those guys chasing the belt. But when they put EC3 in that category, I just think the damage is done. It's irreversible. The Bobby Roode mustache thing they put on TV for 2 weeks, and we haven't seen Bobby Roode since.
right.
And so in that
I mean,
regards, the wild card rule is hurting the program.
mm-hmm.
But I get it from a business standpoint. We have to increase ratings, and the names draw. And so I do agree with a lot of the things they're doing with the wild card rule.
What?
But okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know you say it's irreversible, but my bold move with that would just be to put, just address the elephant in the room on that.
Which is
Okay. Like I say, the way I would have booked it was Samoa. Okay, Mysterio's out the picture. Joe always looking for challenges, right? I would just say EC3 steps up to the plate, talks his stuff, say, well, look, as far as I'm concerned, they haven't done squat with me. I've come to the man. I mean, just basically say the stuff you've been saying.
He has to basically break the fourth wall.
Yeah, and then and say that belt meant nothing since and he can play the angle to where he wants to bring prestige back to the belt, just like what's your boy name, Rhodes Cody was talking about the Intercontinental title, and mid, he can play that angle, and then EC3 can just jumpstart him to what he was when he came out of NXT.
Sure, and when I say irreversible, this is they've made bigger turns than this. So I don't mean literal, but I mean it'd have to be so much of a dynamic change, and I can kind of see where you're coming with that. I can see how that works.
But he won't win it right away, but he'll make a strong feud with Joe.
But here's a bigger question for you, D. Why is Samoa Joe the one night fighting Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin?
Bad booking.
Because if you want a very believable feud, that people could see as a threat to winning the belt, and if he won the belt, people wouldn't care.
I'll put another question. Why is Bobby Roode vying for the U.S. title instead of the world title?
No, he's vying for the 24/7 belt right now.
I thought he was in the mix. No, I thought he was one of the people going for the. No, not Bobby Roode. I'm sorry, Bobby Lashley. Lashley. I'm sorry. Yeah, they got him in. I'm sorry. I know they look alike sometimes. I'm just saying.
They're twins.
Yes, that
Twin
Bobby
magic.
part. But Bobby Lashley should be one of the other people in Seth Rollins' face.
So that's more believable than Baron Corbin, honestly.
Right, and he should. And I couldn't stand it when they had him coming out in the segment for the U.S. title, because I told you last week he's being wasted big time.
I agree.
He's world class, and he has no business being in that.
People question it. Go look at his heel run as the champion of Impact.
Yeah, and
he has what it takes to, provide a legitimate contender a threat to the title. Even if he doesn't win, he deserves the chance to be in that push.
Or make him feud with Brock Lesnar, for the dream.
I think Samoa Joe is a bit better than Bobby Lashley, just because Samoa Joe has the mouthpiece. Like Samoa Joe talks with conviction and it's believable.
But the only damage to them is they always got him matches.
Hey, you know what? My heel Paige managing, give her Bobby Lashley. There we go. Give her a Bobby Lashley.
Oh, and with Bobby, I would say bring back Walking Armageddon. That Bobby Lashley, the one who comes out and just tells you he gonna whoop your ass because he can, and does it. You don't need to say. You don't need to sit up here.
I agree, but if you want him to have somebody who could talk, then as a term, Paige heel. Give her a solid stable where she's managing wrestlers, plural, like a Bobby the Brain Heenan.
But she would have to come.
And not all that. I just think Paige would love doing that.
You know what? You know how they could work it though?
Huh.
She could be on both shows.
Of course.
She could be
Remember, she doesn't have to do house shows. I mean, house shows is just the wrestling talent, right? But
right. She can be a manager on Raw and
of course.
SmackDown.
But what I'm saying is, if
Hmm.
they turn Paige heel, I
Hmm.
have something about Paige, and I don't know her personally. I just see Paige going out there and selling the shit out of a heel manager character. I just personally see that Paige could do that, and she would come out and love it, and she would just, you know,
Because she kind of was she was a
in,
heel leader
for
of the
Absolution. Yes.
stable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she could do it because she's practically she's done it.
Yeah.
I mean, not as an official manager, but she was the ring
She pretty
leader.
much
So
was the manager after she got injured by
yeah,
Sasha Banks. Or I'm not gonna put that on Sasha Banks because when I saw the replay, I don't think Sasha Banks did anything wrong. But when she got injured,
hmm
so yeah, so I think that would be great. But there goes my fantasy booking for the day. Have a heel stable with
well,
Paige as the manager.
true, true. Or
Okay,
she could do for Bobby Lashley what Paul does for Brock.
sure.
Only she'll be around every week.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
she'll talk, and if she talks and like people, it's like she could talk down to people and they can't do anything to her because look who's backing her up, Bobby
Right.
Lashley.
And who could get into a nice little war on the mic with Paul Heyman? You
Yeah.
know.
So I mean that's all I'm saying is like, these are things that I think could make the show more interesting. But yeah, I'm not the one calling the shots, which is why we're doing
Yeah.
this show. We're not getting paid for this.
I'm gonna have to call Vince.
Let's move on to SmackDown then, so we
Let's,
can wind down to the end. I mean, we've already pretty much done our fantasy booking. So let's wind
yeah.
down. We'll save the other ones for next week. Kofi versus Ziggler 2 opinions.
This should, you know what? This match should steal the show. I feel like both of them got the in-ring athleticism to pull it off. I mean, I know a lot of people figure, oh man, this should be over and done with. A lot of them ain't buying into Kofi, maybe, because he already had this feel-good story, and Ziggler just pops up out of nowhere. But I'm actually looking forward to it because I expect big things out of this
I just don't
match.
like the angle itself. The angle itself has me
Right.
disinterested. The should have been me angle
Yeah.
has me disinterested. I agree that they could probably put on a really good cage match.
Okay. This is one
I
where
think. Go ahead.
I'm saying this is one where you're not feeling the promo, but the in-ring action should make up for it.
Yeah. Sorry. I do agree with that. But my thing about it is, I think that they were planning something that they kind of threw away. But Corey Graves did mention it. Like he threw out the foreshadowing.
What was that?
I think they were playing with the idea of breaking up the New Day and have a Big E turn.
Really?
Yes, because you remember when Big E was injured in the back,
Hmm.
and they assumed Kevin Owens did it. Kevin Owens kept saying, "I didn't do this." Yeah, and they were like, "Well, you did it." He was like, "Yeah, I did that, but I didn't do this." Because remember, who did Dolph Ziggler used to run around with? Big E Lang.
Oh, Big E.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I think that
yeah.
they're still toying with this idea of possibly breaking up the New Day.
And
Even though I
and
don't think
and
the New Day want to, but Vince doesn't give a crap what the wrestlers themselves want. Even though I do agree that the New Day are not the same without Big E and everything. But I don't really. I mean, do I care enough? Not really. But I just don't think it's a good move to break up the New Day.
and you meant and your boy Corey Graves did mention
Yep.
during the match that
Big E used to
that
run
when
with
Big E came in, he was working with Dolph.
exactly. And usually when they throw out foreshadows like that, they're like little mini reminders,
Huh.
or some type of foreshadow, because they never determined how Big E got injured, and that could be a way to take the title off of Kofi and give it to Ziggler or something, and then they could start a feud. Kofi's now over. I don't know. Don't really care. I think the more interesting thing would be a complete swerve, and Brock Lesnar cashes in on Kofi. I
Oh,
think that would be way more interesting.
really?
But again, this is my fantasy booking, where he's leading us to believe this whole time that he's going after Seth Rollins, and maybe it's not this pay per view, but what I'm saying is, in somewhere down the future, where Seth Rollins' paranoia is getting the best of him, and he's going to end up losing the title on his own paranoia, to then find out that Brock was going to catch it on Kofi the whole time. Like, imagine that angle.
Yeah.
But then again, fantasy booking, what do I know? I don't know anything. I'm just a obvious bystander who just has some random ideas that flow through my mind and come up.
Yeah, this is true, man. You are no Vince McMahon, dude.
Nope. And
what
it seems
what
like
else they had?
Ember Moon back involved with this feud that she's having with
Mandy Rose.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to try to get Ember Moon back in.
Oh,
Because
but how long she gonna keep taking that crap in the back?
And
she's reading.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they skip that segment last week? It's like they did it 2 weeks ago, or did they do that last week and this week? I feel like for whatever reason, my brain is telling me they did it 2 weeks ago. Skipped a week.
Yeah, they did, because she was reading something and read some book online and whatnot, and they dumped a whole lot of magazines on her, and Carmella, she didn't go nuts or nothing, but
Carmella is still having her feud. It seems like they're building up a possible tag match between Sonya Deville, Mandy Rhodes versus Ember Moon and Carmella. Like they're trying to create some type of organic reason for those two to join up.
Yeah.
And we'll have it where they both keep getting screwed over. I'm getting treated like crap by them. Well, I'm getting screwed over in the ring by them. All right, well, let's join to fight them.
Oh.
It seems
that
like
gets
doing something like that.
Yeah, that gets me going.
I just wish that, whatever they do, they need to keep Carmella with R-Truth, because those two have very good chemistry as far as like an on-screen duo. Like, as far as that little thing of her always trying to help out R-Truth.
Yeah.
It just works for the sake of what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. It gets her more TV time and character build up. So
I don't know how I feel about anything the Miz is doing right now.
They are just scrubbing Miz, man, and I don't know where they're going with it.
Don't really care. Face Miz doesn't work for me at all. Bringing him on there to challenge the best in the world, and then of course we all know he's gonna lose to Drew McIntyre anyway. Beats Elias, which I don't know that was a good move. I think Elias.
Yeah, they scrubbing Elias.
Yeah, Elias needs wins right now, not losses. And he's not somebody where he can take losses. He's not there yet.
Right. And I really thought Miz was going to get by Drew, maybe count out a DQ or something, and then they would just jump him at the end, in the chain match. Yeah, just dog him, just beat the crap out of him like usual.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. So the Miz segment seemed like a wasted segment. Other than that, it was the Nikki Cross versus Bayley match. No interest, other than Alexa Bliss coming down with it, of course. And
none whatsoever.
R-Truth getting locked in his box, getting shipped to LA with the 24/7 title. We'll have to see what they do with that. I'm actually curious about that. I'll say that. I care more about that than what they're doing with the Miz.
Yeah.
I care more about that than the Miz or Elias right now. Which is sad because I like Elias and I love heel Miz, but
and Miz just failed. Yeah.
He's just falling flat with his face. It just doesn't even seem like him.
No, it don't.
It really doesn't. And I don't know why WWE feels like, well, we got to help his show out. So if we make him face, people watch the show. Like,
but the show is on break right now.
And not only that, but the show is a completely different entity. If the fans don't understand that the Miz can be a heel on TV and have a family show afterwards, then I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do ratings. maybe if the ratings shoot up, I guess. But then again, it hurts your ratings for your show on TV that you care about more than the Miz and Mrs. Because the heel Miz is a superstar.
Right.
He is a superstar. Face Miz is just
a scrub.
a guy. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Heel Miz is a superstar. And I can understand if they're like, okay, Miz, we got to put you on the back seat for a while. We're going to turn your face so we could bring this guy up. But they're not bringing anybody up. We just talked about that problem not too long ago. They're not building up any heels to be these legitimate threats. So
Right.
it's not like they needed to do that. So, I don't know.
Just more poor booking. Senseless booking,
So the overall state of WWE, the same where it was last week.
Flatlining.
Yeah, it's
Or barely got a pulse.
I don't know if I say flatlining. It's just hit this plateau where it's not raising or decreasing. It's just there. It's just stale and it's mediocre. It's just mediocrity at its finest. That's all WWE is right now. Mediocrity at its finest, and it's crazy with the roster that they have.
Don't I know it is? And basically, you're just watching it out of tradition, just to see if it's.
Yes. By the way, we forgot to talk about something on Raw. We forgot to talk about the triple threat tag team match, and that they actually gave the Revival the tag team titles back.
Well, that was a good move.
That should go without thought, but we did forget to mention that. And if they're trying to appease the Revival to keep them there. I think if you've noticed, the Revival have just been getting a lot more TV time in general, and they're not doing any Usi hot or anything like that anymore.
Right.
So if they're trying to appease the Revival, then maybe it's working. I guess at the end of the day, the only people who know if they're leaving or not is the Revival. But at least but they still need to get back to doing what Impact does, doing what AEW is promising to do, and they're going to do. They still need to get back to putting tag team titles at the main event. Now the thing is, they kind of did, because the real main event for Raw is actually the 2-hour break.
Right.
The 9 Eastern, 10 Central. That's the real main event for Raw. Like, that's usually their highest mark. And the Revival match came on right after Shane's little celebration. And the Revival came out before that, and they introduced the concept of the match for it. So they kind of did give them the main event spot for wrestling, but they need to do a better job of highlighting tag team wrestling in general still in WWE.
Yeah, that's if the Revival going to get any prestigious TV time as far as in-ring work or whatever, because it's not going to do any good to give them the tag titles and you're not pushing the tag team division.
Agreed.
They just holding the belts.
Well,
That's it.
I kind of felt like the reason they moved the Usos to Raw, and they've been using the same with the Usos. They're getting a lot of TV time. I think that the reason that they did it is because I think there's obviously an agenda to get tag team wrestling back into the mix with legit tag teams. And I still think that if that is the agenda, there's still a lot more work they need to do. I don't think they're anywhere near close enough to where they should be. And that even goes for SmackDown, like with Daniel Bryan. And first off, why are they not giving Daniel Bryan and Rowan the Earth's version of the tag team titles, the hemp and wooden versions of those? Like, come on, like, that would be fantastic. But another wasted opportunity from WWE, and that leads me to think that they're just transitional champions, which would be stupid. I think that they're the perfect duo to bring prestige to the tag team belts, and Rowan gives Daniel Bryan a chance to wrestle safer. Rowan could take a lot of the bigger bumps, protect Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan right now it's important. He's too important to let go to injury.
But the truth is, they got enough people to create new tag teams.
I don't even think they need new tag teams. They have enough tag teams. They're just not getting airtime.
Yeah.
Like I said, look what happened to Sanity. They're gone now. They have them. Remember, the War Raiders, a.k.a. Viking Raiders, are on the Raw roster. We haven't seen them.
And you haven't seen AOP either.
Yeah, but I know one of them is injured. I don't know if he's back yet.
Yeah, he's back. I think he was in that Super Battle Royal or whatever.
Okay, which we didn't even talk about the Super Showdown. And
I'll
say this: we will because I'm going to watch one match, and so next week we're going to talk about the Undertaker versus Goldberg. It's supposed to be that bad that I have to see it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Damn. Well, I'll just take your word for it because I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Yes, I just want to see. I just because I know Goldberg had to come out and apologize on how bad the match was.
He came out of nowhere.
So I just want to see that. So, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, I feel that they do have enough tag teams to make a legitimate tag team division, and they're just not doing it.
And why is that?
Vince apparently. I don't know how much I agree with, or whenever rumors are like Vince doesn't like stables, Vince doesn't like this, Vince doesn't like
Well,
that.
you know what? Vince need to get off of what he likes and don't like,
what I'm
and
saying
do
is
what
I don't
money.
know if those are even true. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit there and what I'm saying is I'm not gonna rely on the Vince doesn't like all of this stuff. I don't know. I don't know why they're not putting stock in
And tell me this.
division.
And why does the NXT tag team belts look so much better than the any WWE tag title?
I don't know. I don't know.
When I saw him, I'm like, oh man, look at the belts, man.
Yeah.
Fight for those belts.
Mm-hmm.
But jeez, versus
Yeah.
yeah.
There goes Raw and SmackDown. As we can see, we sound very deflated when we talk about Raw and SmackDown because those are Raw and SmackDown.
With good reason, man.
They deflate you.
Yeah.
Thank goodness DVR exists. And a colleague of mine told me, hey, go back and watch that. That's that U.S. title, all the two triple tag teams, three-way tag teams, or whatever the match was with Samoa Joe and all those guys. He was like, it was actually really good. I went back and watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't impressed. Let's put it this way. I'm not saying the match was terrible, but it wasn't worth me going back to watch. I didn't gain anything by watching it. So,
It just can't. Yeah, you can't. It ain't living up to the stuff that you rave about.
Exactly. So it is what it is.
You say it's better than what they usually do.
I guess. I guess. So, yeah. Any last tidbits do you want to leave out there for anybody, D, before we start wrapping up?
Well, no, it's a family show, so I can't. I won't make any comments about divas and things like that. The ones I really want to make, I just have to wait till.
Look, I can tell you this. A lot of those girls are gorgeous, and I have no problems saying that they are gorgeous. Like, some of them are absolutely phenomenal, and more power to them for doing what it takes to,
Oh, the things I would. Yeah, the things I would do with the Kabuki Warriors.
So, yeah. So I have no problem saying that. The divas are.
And Paige.
And I'm not going to say divas, the women.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't like the word diva, I don't see. I'm pretty sure some of them do. Like Charlotte Flair takes pride in winning the diva belt.
Or some don't mind. They don't care either way.
They're still on the what is it called? The diva show on.
Total Divas.
Total Divas. So yeah.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
But they don't. Yeah, I don't think it'll draw much attention. They say total women.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So. But yeah, they do their thing. They take care of their business, and I respect that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I just said we kind of gave our fantasy booking in the middle of the show. But yeah, next week let's see if we can get anything interesting from WWE. And as I said, when the 24/7 title is something that you're looking forward to, there's a problem. And not with the 24/7 title. It's just R-Truth. I enjoy R-Truth.
Well, that doggone belt is getting more prestige than the U.S. title right now, man. And that's sad.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We've stayed overtime again 2 weeks in a row. We'll see if we can ever finish a show in an hour. For those listeners that came in, I do appreciate you all. This is J Dash. That's D.
Of course.
This is episode 2, Wrestling Wednesdays. We'll get back to it next Wednesday. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace.